A lot can happen in a week. Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it downright ugly. When faced with intriguing developments in the week's news, we turn to a rotating panel of non-experts to parse the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. On today's panel, Joy Sewing, news columnist for the Houston Chronicle, Mustafa Tameez, media and public affairs consultant and the CEO of Outreach Strategists, and David Branham, professor of political science at the University of Houston downtown. Joy, Mustafa, David, welcome to Houston Matters.
Hi, Craig.
Good to be back.
Thank you.
Panel, we learned this week that amid budget cuts, the National Weather Service has stopped providing language translations of its products because its contract with an AI provider has lapsed. As the AP reported this week, a company called Lilt began providing those translations in 2023, replacing manual, labor-intensive translations from English to other languages, Spanish and Vietnamese included. More than 9 million Texans speak a language other than English. As the Houston Chronicle notes, 145 languages are spoken here in Houston alone, and its non-English speakers are now, quote, in danger of not receiving life-saving weather alerts. The development comes after Trump administration job cuts at NOAA and the National Weather Service in recent weeks. Those storm alerts will still go out in English, but don't expect automatic translations into other languages. Is this good, bad, or ugly? Mustafa Tameez.
Yeah, just more ugly, right? I mean, this is, these cuts are not strategic. They're not thoughtful. It's basically cutting for the sake of cutting. And the National Weather Service, it's just an incredibly important agency for everybody, but especially those of us in Houston, it's critical, right? We predict weather patterns based on what they say, and whether it's in English and other languages, that data is really important. Now, the fact that we're talking about this in terms of language cut it's absurd. 9 million Texans speak a different language, and if we want them to have safety, but also for all the rest of us to have safety, they need to understand the directions that are coming from the National Weather Bureau. But outside of that, NOAA has been really hollowed out. There's a lot of key scientists and others that are not there anymore. Many have been forced into retirement. And there is a huge gap between the people that understand what we all need to know when it comes to the National Weather Service and those that are left over there. And that number is ongoingly depleted.
Good, bad, or ugly? David Branham.
I don't know yet. I am worried that there would be somebody who needs to see a weather emergency that isn't going to see it. But this is a little bit misleading to say, okay, there's 9 million Texans who speak a different language. My wife speaks 3 of them, and she understands English just fine. So I think that's pretty much the case for most Texans. There's not that many Texans who don't understand any English at all. And when it comes to the Weather Service, you can put it on. You probably can understand it. So I'm not sure how big of an impact this will have, but it's not over yet. I mean, the contract ran out, from what I understand, on April 1st. They still have 30 days, so we have a little bit more than 2 weeks left. And so it may be able to turn this around and get what Donald Trump would say is a better deal. And if that's the case, then I'm fine with it. Are the cuts being systematically done? No, and I've criticized the president on this on several occasions. It looks like a bull in a china shop a lot of times, with a bunch of cuts, and then you're asking people to come back. You owe the people that voted for you a professional administration. You have a high standard yourself, then live up to it. So they have been messing this up since they began. But it's not a bad thing to do the cuts. We're $37 trillion in debt. Every single American, if you just paid your share as one person, would owe $100,000 plus to the federal government. We need to do something about this. So I like it that there's a president there that's doing something about it. I just wish there was a little bit more professionalism, a lot more professionalism when it came to this. It's just not being well done. And so I would say everybody needs to get their act together.
Okay, good, bad, or ugly? Joy Sewing.
I agree with both of you for different reasons. I do think that when you look at particularly Houston and how many people speak a different language, and I might kind of argue with you that not everybody speaks English or understands English. I think there are a good chunk of people who we might not have contact with who do not speak English. And I just think about the Gulfton area, and with all the people who are coming into that area, and that's considered, Houston's Ellis Island, where you have people from all over the world coming in here. And this is their first impression of the U.S. And when we have a storm, and as we all know, during Hurricane Harvey or any of the Beryl, anything, information is crucial. And finding out the information can make a difference of whether you live or die. And that's the reality. I don't know enough about the contract with the agency to know, if that's going to come back or anything like that. But from the surface, it sounds like an ugly thing.
I will say that it's not. The federal government doesn't have to do this. I mean, the states can do this, or the cities can do this. They could come in and say, okay, we're a new service. When we see a national weather report, we know the people in our community. We can put that out there ourselves and give them a second warning. So, yeah, it may be a little bit delayed, but probably not very delayed. I mean, it should be within seconds that they'd be able to recover on this. And so, I think. Why does the federal government have to be responsible for everything that we do? I think there's some things that the states or the local governments can pick up. They're the ones that actually balance their budget. So I think this is something that we can adjust to.
I don't think storm clouds know where the boundaries of one state end and the other state begin. National Weather Service the word national is critical because weather patterns go from one state to the other. And if each state was trying to do this on their own, just the cost of each state setting up its own weather service would just be outrageous. I mean, these are the types of things that you need a federal government that protects all of us. And rather than taking the entities that protect all of us and hollowing them out, there has to be some greater care and thought about the lives that are being affected by this.
Panel, the number of nurses in Houston ISD shrunk nearly 50% this school year, from 270 down to 140. That's according to records obtained by Houston Public Media through a public information request. School nurses provide first aid care, but also health screenings and vaccination tracking. In downplaying the need for them in every school, a district statement suggested, quote, nurse staffing levels are not a measure of student safety or health service quality. As Houston Public Media's Colleen de Guzman reported this week, Texas is one of 30 states that don't require full-time nurses at K-12 schools, and districts nationwide are experiencing nursing shortages. Texas School Nurse Organization Executive Director Becca Harkelroad warns students with special needs or disabilities are hardest hit by such shortages. HISD is getting by with nearly half the nurses it employed just last year. Is this good, bad, or ugly? David?
Well, it's bad somewhere because when you make this big of a cut, it's going to have a big impact. One, it's either going to have the big impact of getting rid of a lot of people that are not needed and saving tens of millions of dollars that should have been saved a long time ago, or it's going to have the impact of putting child welfare at risk. And on that, I don't know which one it is yet. I have a feeling it's probably somewhere in between. But we just talked about, administration's important for elected officials and people who run our public entities. It's about time it come to light. I mean, for far too often, voters think only of their ideology. They don't think of the performance of the government itself. The performance of the government matters. So on this cut, somewhere along the line, the performance of the government wasn't up to snuff. Either we had way too many nurses who are sitting around half the day doing nothing, or we have way too few nurses, and children's safety is going to be at risk. So we have to sit back and see. But something bad has happened here when you make this drastic of a cut.
All right. Good, bad, or ugly, Joy?
I think it's bad and ugly. I have friends who have children with special needs and rely on nurses to help their children during a school day at a school. And if they don't have a nurse assigned to their child or assigned to that group, their child can't go to school. So I think you're dealing with issues like that. You're also dealing with issues. We're having a measles outbreak, and so how do schools navigate this when we have a growing number of families who are opting not to vaccinate their children, and who is shepherding this, and who is managing the health and welfare of these children, of my children, when they're at school like that. So I think it's very disconcerting and alarming for the welfare of our children.
Okay, good, bad, or ugly. Mustafa.
I think it's bad. Look, there's such a shortage of nursing. I mean, like 500,000 nurses are going to retire this year, and there's not enough going into nursing school. So in Texas alone, like we're short of almost 35,000 nurses. So there's a great demand for the profession. There's just not enough people in it. And I'm going to get some hate mail from even within my family. I think we need more nurses and less pharmacists, right? We have a lot of, there's a lot of education you have to go to get through pharmacy school, and then basically a lot of the pharmacists end up standing at, dispensing that in grocery stores and stuff, right? So I really think more effort has to be put into having more nurses in our country. And there's even if you just look at, we import so many people that come from other places, to be nurses here, because we just have such a shortage, and we've never really addressed this in a meaningful way. And around the world, if you look at American healthcare and hospitals and you say, what's the big distinction? Do we have the most brilliant doctors? Do we have the best equipment? All those type of things. At the end of the day, it's the skilled care in our hospitals that is the best in the world. And that is because of the nursing profession. So more nurses and less pharmacists. Let the hate mail begin.
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm not going to comment on your pharmacists. But nurses do a job that I consider one of the 5 hardest jobs in the country. Doctors, I've had family members who have spent extended time in the hospital, so I've got to witness this firsthand. The difference between a good nurse and a bad nurse is night and day. And you have to have a highly skilled nurse in order to really get good care. Doctors tend to walk in, make their diagnosis, tell everybody else what to do, and walk out. Nurses get it done, and they get it done often on their 14th hour or 15th hour of the day. It's absolutely absurd sometimes what they have to go through to do such a great job. So the very best nurses need to be paid a lot more, for one. If we have a nursing shortage, it's because we don't reward them enough. And so we need to start rewarding the people that we need to keep us alive. And nurses are in that group. So I will definitely agree with Mustafa on that.
And I just want to add one thing. I emceed Prairie View A&M University. They have a wonderful nursing school. They had a gala, and this was some years ago. And I was blown away about all of the women in that room, women and men in that room, who had such a passion and dedication for the nursing profession and came with multiple degrees. I mean, these are a very well-educated group of people. And I think we don't hear enough from those kind of stories, and we don't hear enough about what all they bring to the profession. So I agree with you.
Pay nurses more and doctors less. How about that? More hate mail coming towards me. Just from within my family. Forget about anybody else.
Panel, briefly, there's a new king among casual dining chains in America. Olive Garden's been supplanted by Texas Roadhouse. As Cron food editor John Henry Pereira reported Monday, Restaurant Business Online acquired a recent report from Technomic, a food service consultancy company, which finds the steakhouse chain now has the highest system-wide sales of any U.S. chain, more than $5.4 billion last year. But before you get excited about a Texas steakhouse chain taking this particular top spot, it should be noted that Texas Roadhouse, despite its name, is in fact headquartered in Kentucky. Texas Roadhouse has more sales than any other casual dining chain in America, but it's technically not even from Texas. Is this good, bad, or ugly? Joy.
Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't really know, but I will say Olive Garden has the best breadsticks and salad, bar none. So there you go. I don't eat any of these, but I do remember those breadsticks being wonderful. So.
All right, so I guess she's still on Team Olive Garden.
Absolutely.
Mustafa, good, bad, or ugly?
I'm going to double down. This is ugly. This is not just ugly. This is like super ugly. First, I was asking myself, have I ever been in a Texas Roadhouse? And I realized I have never been in one. And I'm like, how could that be if this is a very popular chain?
So you're truly a non-expert on this one.
Yeah, because they're not inside 610. They're not even inside Beltway 8. They're outside Beltway 8. and there's probably like 15 of them or 12 of them in this region, and none of them are inside Beltway, right?
Yeah, Kentucky was outside Beltway, last I saw.
So I think this is ugly. If these people want to stay on top and they want to use our name, I think Senator Patrick and others should, pass a in Texas legislative law saying that they have to relocate their headquarters to Texas, because that's what it says so in their name, right? And by the way, I am with you, Joy. The Olive Garden, both the salad and the breadsticks are the best.
All right, fine. More rolls and cinnamon butter for me. Good, bad, or ugly, David Branham?
We're supposed to disagree on the show. I'm not.
Wow.
Not disagreeing. This is ridiculous right from the get-go. One, Olive Garden is... I can't tell you that Olive Garden is better than Texas Roadhouse, because I've never set foot in a Texas Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. If you look at it, if you look it up and say, okay, where's the Texas Roadhouse? I have one about 10 miles from the house. It's open at 4 p.m. It's not even open for lunch. I mean, come on. This is not Texas, for one. The first Texas Roadhouse, I looked it up, was actually opened in Indiana. So Kentucky has a headquarters. Indiana had the first one, and they called it Texas Roadhouse. So Dan Patrick, Mustafa, and I are coming to you in agreement. We need some legislation here. Get Texas Roadhouse name off of it. It's not a Texas restaurant. And in all honesty, it really can't match up to Olive Garden's breadsticks, their salad, and that Tuscany soup. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think
that stuff is so good.
I think it should be called American Roadhouse. How about that?
Okay, North American.
How about would you feel differently if they renamed their New York strip steaks Texas strip steaks, as Patrick has asked for?
Well, listen, first.
You're just ignoring the question.
No.
Answer the question.
My thing would be the legislation should require them to be in Texas and employ Texas people if they're going to call themselves a Texas Roadhouse.
Oh,
first.
Man, we are just agreeing way too much. Something's wrong here.
Yeah. I would
time.
Say, I would just say, I think whoever runs Olive Garden in this region should take this as an opportunity and cater lunch regularly at the Good, Bad, and the Ugly show.
Breadsticks and salad. That's all I want.
Joy Sewing is a news columnist for the Houston Chronicle. Mustafa Tameez is a media and public affairs consultant and the CEO of Outreach Strategists. And David Branham is a professor of political science at the University of Houston downtown. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Greg.